We are at Florida Gulf Coast University Food Forest. We've got some fans here. We're gonna have a meetup. It looks like a lot of people are showing up. Oh, and he's brought eggs. We got somebody bringing a gift. Hey.
Hey,
cool.
Mine to you.
Thank you.
Fresh, I know it's hard to get them on the road.
Yeah, very hard. That's so cool. A lot of people are seeing me and giving me eggs. I really appreciate that. We just had an amazing meal, a potluck. Look at all these people. Oh my word. I think this is our biggest turnout yet. And look, the Great American Farm Tour t-shirt. I told her I'd give her something special for that. That's the first time we've seen somebody wearing that shirt. Here we go, permaculture chickens for you.
Oh, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So tell me, what's your name and what are you growing?
I'm Mary St. Dennis and I raise ducks and I have a vegetable garden with tomatoes and lettuce and onions and the works.
I'm Tanner Beverly from Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm growing kale and collard greens.
My name's Michelle Bisson. I'm growing, we have 19 fruit trees here in Lehigh. We have chaya, spinach, pigeon pea, avocado.
It's good for you. You're jamming it.
Yeah.
The way I'm going to do the tour is just kind of start off with a brief history of the food forest. It was designed by students. It's managed by students because all of the coordinators here are full-time students. It's run by students, so all the volunteers and people that help are mainly students, and it's for students in the community. So everything you see here is because of students like me and students who aren't even getting paid and they just come in helping out. So the food forest originally started when a group of students wanted to have a garden on campus. So they went kind of back and forth with the administration, and the main issue that the administration had was they didn't want students to build a garden that would look bad when students left during Christmas break or during the summer. So the students got together, they learned about permaculture, and they designed the food forest itself. So they took into account the local climate, they took into account the local conditions, they researched different plants that would thrive in Southwest Florida. They drew up a design and then they proposed it to student government. So ultimately that proposal led in student government granting the group then known as, I believe, the food foresters or the backyard gardeners, a grant of over $100,000. So where you're standing in this food forest, this area is less than 5-6 years old, and it used to be a gravel parking lot. So that money went into breaking up the gravel, bringing in compost, soil, creating kind of the berms, buying the plants, installing the irrigation system, the fencing. We also have lemongrass. Everybody's familiar with lemongrass, right? Yeah. So lemongrass is an amazing plant. Above us, right here, we just have a papaya growing, but above us is a moringa tree. So for those of you who aren't familiar with moringa is practically a superfood. On a gram by gram basis, it has more iron than spinach, it has more calcium than milk, more protein than yogurt, more vitamin A than carrots, more vitamin C than oranges. So it has all the essential amino acids, and it practically grows like a weed. The food forest was designed using permaculture principles. So in permaculture, you want to make sure you have an understanding of your site. You want to know what where energy is entering into the site, where your winds are entering into the site. So on the outside of the food forest, we've planted bamboo in kind of the northwest corner to block some of the cold northern winds that come. In addition to that, for our fence, we've planted various trees that will eventually be able to create a living fence. So these plants specifically are gumbo limbos. So within the food forest, like I said, there's biomimicry. So there's a combination of native and non-native plants that each plant is multifunctional and is there for a reason. Papaya are our staple fruit throughout the food forest. They grow very easily with no irrigation, and they fruit for at least a few years. Behind us we have a canistel tree. Has anybody had canistel before? I like to describe it as a fruit that tastes like sweet potato. It's delicious. I love it. I'm passing around. This is a Florida native shrub called Simpson stopper. So, like I mentioned before, there's a number of Florida native plants throughout the food forest. This one is great because Not only does it help with erosion control, it provides habitat for birds and native pollinators. The flowers smell wonderful. They also attract a variety of native pollinators. The berries are edible, although they kind of taste like how pine saw smells. So it's really interesting. They attract birds into the system too, and then the birds in turn help act as part of our integrated pest management. So the birds eat some of the pests for our other fruit trees. So that every plant, like I mentioned, that gives you an idea how it's multifunctional. Here you guys can smell some more leaves. Just taking it past the along.
What's it smell like?
It kind of smells like rosemary.
Over there is a plant called firebush. So that's another Florida native to the Caribbean. It is great for attracting various pollinators, especially some of the butterflies. And then it's also, we use it as kind of a green mulch sometimes too. Once it gets too big, we cut it back pretty hard, use the leaves to mulch around some of our fruit trees or in our compost piles, and it grows back every year. So chaya is another great plant for those of you who are interested in growing veggies year-round in your yard, especially if you live here in Southwest Florida. All you need to do to grow this plant is basically take a branch of it, stick it in some soil and water it, and it grows. It's very, very drought tolerant, survives very well in the heat and with the rain. So chaya is an incredibly nutritious perennial vegetable. It grows year-round here in Florida. So the caveat with eating chaya is you have to boil it for 10 minutes. That helps break down the natural chemical defenses that the plant has, and that way you can eat it. The great thing I love about it is it's high in spinach, so it has it's high in iron, and it has more iron than spinach. And when you boil it, unlike spinach, it maintains its shape perfectly, and then it basically absorbs whatever flavors you're cooking with it. So it's a great green, very reliable, good staple. Here's another excellent native plant that that's growing in the food forest. This one is called Lignum vitae. So it's an endangered hardwood tree that's native to the Caribbean, and it's great that in the food forest it can not only be an area where we can grow food and plants that are useful to us, but by growing this here and allowing it to flower and then provide fruit for the birds, we're able to kind of like help reintroduce it into the wild. So this plant is also medicinal. Jackfruit, I believe the largest fruit tree in the world. It can easily produce fruit that is over 100 pounds. So we have one in the center of the food forest. It's about, I would say, 5 or 6 years old, maybe 7. It was probably 2 years old when they bought it. But it's been fruiting for at least a year, maybe 2 years now. Fruits during the summer, as you can see, the flowers are growing in. So this type of plant you definitely want to plant if you have a bit more space in your yard. I think there might be dwarf varieties, but once you get the fruit, once this thing starts to fruit, you can really get a good amount of food off of it. And then also, if you're interested in growing fruits to sell, I believe it's like $2 to $5 per pound for a jackfruit. So you can make a decent amount of money just selling the fruit of these trees.
You're gonna see a cassava plant.
Break off a piece of the woody stem, stick it in the ground, water it, and then you have a whole new plant. So the part of the plant that's eaten are the tubers, and generally people say it takes about 6 to 9 months after you plant it before you can start harvesting tubers off of it. So you can either completely harvest all of the tubers by pulling the plant out the ground and then digging out all the roots, or you can keep the plant in the ground and kind of like pull back the mulch and then harvest the roots that are coming off of it. I really recommend this plant because it's really useful. And like I said, once you have one, you'll never need another one.
The kids have got me involved in a hide and seek game. That wasn't hard. I guess I need to give them a better head start. All right, here we go. They're all screaming. They don't know if they'd be quiet. I could never find them in this food forest. Oh. I heard them screaming. Got y'all. Now I'm actually looking for them because we gotta go. Up, up, up. All right, everybody, time to go home.